Welcome to This Week in Metropolis. The transmission will begin shortly.
Yep, King P here,
And Steelio7.
and welcome to another episode of This Week in Metropolis. Exciting episode because we've got a brand new guest on the show. A friend I worked out and I've known for probably 17 years now, which is scary because that makes me feel really old.
Yeah.
Paul, aka the Kryptonian Warrior.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the show, Paul.
Welcome to the show. And would you like to do a really short description of what you enjoy and so on? Obviously related to the podcast. So.
Yeah. Well, as you can probably see, I am a super geek. So I'm into everything. So video games, movies, TV, comics, everything you can think of. I used to own a comic shop. So did that for about 2 years. I've done blogging, entertainment news blogging, Twitch streaming, gaming. Because I game all the time. I'm 42, but I still game pretty much every day if I can. I'm blind in one eye at the moment, but I can still game just. But other than that, and also I cosplay, which was in my 30s, not my 40s. But dressing up as Batman, Ant-Man, all that kind of stuff. So.
Which I remember, I can't remember what platform it was. I was thinking before the show about this. I remember you posting, I don't know if it was Instagram or Facebook. You used to post sort of almost like tutorials on how you were doing it. Do you remember doing that? Like when you was creating a particular outfit, you were not necessarily a tutorial, but when you was creating a particular outfit, you was doing a bit of a behind the scenes of this is.
Yeah, I think I did it on Facebook, and there was some Star Wars masks and stuff that I'd literally made out of foam and stuff just randomly.
Which was amazing. But one thing that stuck with me, and I don't know why this stuck with me, is my mind retaining these things. Isn't it correct that you had to use sanitary towels?
You remember that? Yeah, that was.
I don't know why that stuck. Well, particularly,
it's because I had to go shopping for certain things for going to a convention, and one of the things that I've been told as a kind of an inside bit of information was that if you had a Batman cowl, you were going to sweat in the latex. And the best thing to do, it's tight, and obviously it's hot, and when you're walking around, all that kind of stuff, you're going to start getting hot. And obviously Lycra is not that bad. You actually keep quite cool in Lycra, and it doesn't show the sweat marks, but your head is going to sweat. And to stop that from happening and it kind of going down your eyes, sanitary towels on the head, and that will soak it all up. And I had to go shopping, and obviously I had no idea what I was looking for. I've never gone shopping for sanitary towels, and having to go in there and kind of go, all right, put them on the the conveyor belt with all this other blokey stuff. And yeah, that was something I put on Facebook. It's a good memory.
Did it work? No, that's the important thing.
It did. I had one like a Mohican inside. It's like trying to soak up because obviously I'm bald. That's why I wear my hat. I've got a big shiny head.
Well, you're not alone. So
no, the light on mine is like blinding. It like bounces off and kills you. But yeah, so I put one on like a Mohican, soaked up the sweat, did the job. But I haven't worn the cowl since, I think. So not because of that. Yeah.
So sorry, Paul. Did you use did you used to use these for like Comic Cons and things like that?
Yeah, I've dressed up quite a few times, and my weight has gone up and down and up and down. So I've been like skinny Batman and big Ant-Man and God knows what. But I've only used sanitary towels once for Batman, but I've had different cowls that I've had to use. Some that are half cowls where you can move your neck, some where you're completely rigid. And I've got at conventions. What have I done? Deathstroke from DC, if you know Deathstroke.
Yeah.
Half orange, half. Yeah, I've done my own version of that. What else have I done? I've done a few things. I've done Darth Vader to a couple of things, and because I had a Vader costume from the comic shop left over, and yeah. So
the effort that people go to, I've been to a Comic Con and I went as Superman, and if I do say so myself, I looked the absolute nuts. I had kids coming up to me with their parents saying, "Can I have a picture with you?" I'm sure they actually thought I was Superman.
That's the bonus. Is the kids. The kids love the costumes and have the photos taken. Or the adults as well, but
some of the level. I mean, mine was literally an outfit that I bought online for about 20 quid. But some of the effort that some people go to, I'm guessing by the sounds of it that you've gone to in the past, it's like another level.
Yeah, I mean, you can find the bargains, but if you spend the money, then yeah, you're going to look the nuts. And some of the stuff I've worn, I've been really like impressed with myself. Some of the stuff, not so much. I've looked back and gone, "Oh my god, what did I do?" But yeah,
That's
I've
part of
enjoyed.
the learning experience, though, isn't
Yeah,
it? The whole
but
thing.
like Vader, people like, aren't you a bit short to be a stormtrooper type joke? Because I'm 5'10", I'm not like 6'2", 6'3" Vader, so I'm a bit short as Vader. But yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Just out of curiosity, what would you say is your best and what would you say is your worst that you've had?
It's difficult. I've loved my Deathstroke that I did because it was completely and utterly mine. It wasn't based on, because it was before the Arrow TV Deathstroke was on.
That's what I know him from, yeah.
Yeah, and people knew the kind of latex mask. I didn't have that. I had more of a kind of cotton mask, and I had two different ones, and it was a really good outfit. I've got it on my Instagram kind of cosplay page, but that's on there with all these little grenades, and I had a sword, and I had kind of guns and everything, and it was fun. People loved that one. I'd say my worst one is possibly my first Batman, and only because not only was I super skinny, I was like about 11 stone, and I've been 18 stone, so I've gone up and down really massively. But yeah, the cowl was really tight, so my eyeballs were bulging. I've got a very long, like what I call aliens, like head, you know, Geiger type aliens head. So it's long. So when you buy a mask and they say it's a 23-inch head, that don't do the job for me. I put these cowls on and they stretch, and so my eyeballs are kind of like that for the whole time.
Hence Batman.
Yeah, so I have to buy them a little bit bigger. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it looks like I need a crap. But yeah, so yeah, I'd say that one was possibly my worst. Ant-Man, I've had good and I've had bad, and all the other ones I've loved doing them. It's just when you look back on them, sometimes you're like, I'll tell you one thing. This is probably not something I want to say, but putting the cod piece in for Batman, and then it going skew whiff to the side, and then when your photos are there, when your photos are through, and you're standing with a skew whiff codpiece, that's the worst, because then you look at it.
It doesn't matter how good the rest of
That's
the
all you
outfit
can
is.
look at.
It doesn't matter. It's just you're focusing. Oh my god, look at this Leaning Tower of Pisa in your pants. So yeah,
Amazing.
Well, do check out. I mean, I'm sure Matt will give a little plug that you'll be able to see on the screen somewhere.
I'll put some of these pictures on the video as you're talking about it.
That'd be pretty
sure.
cool.
Okay, I'll send you some.
Fantastic.
But yeah, so welcome. Good to have a little intro there for Paul.
Thank you.
But we are here to talk about things that have caught our eye over the last week, and we'll get Paul's opinion on them things as well. One of the first things I wanted to mention was, and we'll keep this brief because there's not a great deal of information just yet, but the Dune trailer, which came out this week, or in the last week, I'd never even heard of Dune, the movie. Matt, you told me it was out
how dare you? How dare you?
Well, maybe I'm showing my age a bit. But Matt, you said you've seen the
I'm aware of it, and I think I've seen bits in the film, like the original one. I know, but everyone judges me because I've never seen any film.
I'm obsessed, mate. I've watched it like maybe 30, 40 times. The 3-hour version. I'm obsessed with it. The older 1984 version. Then,
what is, if you can do a summary, what is the story of Dune? Because from me and James's perspective, we've seen the new trailer, and that's probably as in depth as we've got. So, what is the story?
So Paul Atreides is the son of a duke, and it's pure sci-fi. So it's different planets, and there's a planet that they nicknamed Dune. It's called Arrakis, and it's got spice on it. And this spice is something that not only is it just like sand, but it's extremely powerful to create space travel, folding space. So different aliens, different species use it to fold space, all this kind of stuff. And there's a battle over this planet of who's going to run it, who's going to control it. The Harkonnens, who are these disgusting kind of humanoid people. And Paul Atreides, not that I want to ruin it, but he's on a path to almost godhood. So becoming super powerful, and the spice affecting him. And there's these people on Dune. I can't remember what they're called now. I can't remember. Blue Eyes. I'll remember it in a minute. And they've been with the spice for a long time. They get these blue eyes, bright blue eyes from it, and they ride the worms, as you've probably seen in the trailer, giant worms. And the film is literally just a battle of all the different aliens. They're all humanoids, but aliens
Yeah.
trying to get control of June. And that doesn't sound brilliant, but the original 1984 movie that I've watched even recently, the 3-hour version, there's a normal version, there's a 3-hour extended. It is classic sci-fi. Like back in the day, it was, there's the kind of the special effects and stuff, the little shield outfits and stuff. So I love it. And the fact there's a new film, I'm not 100% on.
You're a bit torn with it.
So
I've seen trailers where it's put the original with the new one, and it shows that the script is almost the same, like what's it actually in the trailer, and also the visuals of like putting the thing to his neck and whatever, and saying you're going to put your hand in here if you don't, if you bring it out, you're going to die. All that kind of. It's almost identical. So I think it is literally a remake. I'm fine with the actors. Load of brilliant actors. But having looked at it, I've gone, don't like the suits, not sure about the worms. So we'll see. It's like remaking Star Wars or Star Trek.
Well, exactly.
And I think from having never even heard of it before, and then seeing this trailer again, for me, looking at it as a clean slate with no prior knowledge to the original, I thought it looked incredible. And again, one thing you mentioned there was the casting. Like, there was so many like top level,
really good actors,
really good. And I think it could. I saw a question on Twitter earlier, which was, what does everyone think of which one's better, the Batman trailer or the Dune trailer? Not that they should be compared, but I guess it's for big films coming out. For me, I think as much as I'm excited about Batman, I think Dune looks, for me, maybe because it looks epic. It looks original as well. The problem with Batman is there's so much hype around it and you're comparing it to all the previous ones. And I've got high hopes for this new version of the Batman. But for Dune, I think that could be. I think that could be huge.
Yeah, it probably will. I probably like it as well. It's just that you
don't want to.
No, I don't. That's exactly the thing. It's almost like Batman. It's kind of like you want to like it, and you see that end bit where he beats the hell out of that person, and you're like, now that was the best bit of the entire trailer. The entire trailer looks good and dark, but that was the best bit. And for Dune, it's going to be special effects more than anything. I mean, you could put any actors in Dune, and it's gonna be Dune. But the actors Oscar Isaac and Josh Brolin and whatever, they're going to be the thing that puts you in. So
I watching it, there were so many bits where I thought, wow, I wonder where that is. Oh, I wonder how that fits in. Oh, wow, what's that bit? Who's that guy? And amazing. And again, that is because I'm looking at fresh eyes, and it is that sort of anticipation of all these things. But
do you think because of the you're a huge fan, I assume you are as well, Paul, of Star Wars with the different planets and things like that, you think that could be a similarity towards that sort of film? That's why you're intrigued by it?
Definitely. I think, and that was the we talked yesterday about the Mandalorian, and the new Mandalorian trailer. I felt exactly, there you go,
this is the way.
I love that throughout that whole series, their little phrase like, this is the way, and his little mate, and it is so, didn't he say something like that? I can't remember. He would say,
I have spoken.
I
have spoken.
Yeah,
I have spoken, and he just like, you can say them now, like say it to the missus. I'm going somewhere. No, you're not. I have spoken.
It's amazing. But watching the Mandalorian sort of second series trailer again, that was so I had a similar feeling. I said yesterday, they're going to that ice planet, wherever it is. You think, where are they going? What's that? What are they doing there? Incredible. Yeah. Did you enjoy the Mandalorian? I take it the first series.
I was obsessive about that, and watched all the Disney stuff on how they made it and whatever. And I love the Baby Yoda. I got a Baby Yoda pop vinyl and all that kind of stuff. But and I've ordered like the 10-inch Mandalorian pop vinyl with the baby next to him and stuff. So, it looked so funny when he presses the button and closes up. It's just
at the end. We were saying that yesterday.
Made him so realistic. It's like everyone loves him. It's kind of become the child show, the Baby Yoda show.
Yeah, exactly. What's he going to do next?
Yeah, exactly.
So another thing that came out over the last week as well was regarding the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which I saw a few things coming up. I actually saw the first story I saw in the news was about them all reuniting, all the original cast apart from Uncle Phil, reuniting, and I thought, are they coming all back together to do a reboot of it with them now? I mean, would that work? And then the more I dug into it, I know there's something that you'll talk about in a minute, Matt, but they were talking that a reboot of it as such, in more of a serious kind of modern day version with all the original characters, not the actors, has been signed up for 2 seasons in America, I believe, on a streaming service called Peacock.
Which is NBC's one, I think, isn't it?
Right. Okay. And the guy who done that, there was a trailer that came out last year. Again, I didn't even know this got released.
That was a fan trailer,
yeah. And a fan made one by Morgan Cooper, which and I watched that this week. It was incredible, and it's so funny when you see them kind of calling each other by their actual character names, and you think, God, but in like a dark, gritty sort of, really serious version of it. Will Smith apparently saw it and was like buzzing about it, and he's going to be involved with Morgan Cooper in the reboot. So that's quite exciting. But in addition to that, I know, Matt, you've seen something Bel-Air related.
Which links to, I think a few weeks ago we was talking about how Airbnb were doing different sort of interesting places you could stay, and we talked about you could rent a last remaining Blockbuster video and have sort of a retro night there. But now you have the original mansion from the Fresh Prince that you can rent for the night, which is insane. And looking at it, the rooms, and I think they're quite modern, but they're done in a sort of Fresh Prince style with his clothes and sort of shoes and stuff like that round there. But the good thing, for the fans, is it's $30 a night, which is
really.
Yeah, travel lodge prices,
isn't it? 12,000 a night or something.
Yeah, well, that's what you'd expect, wouldn't you? Yeah. Like these big weekends, you'd think, wow, I'm going to pay the premium, but $30 a night, starting from September 29th, but it is only available to LA County residents. So we're completely out of luck with that one.
There's always some way to stop us from
experiencing it. Fun.
Yeah, exactly. But that is incredible.
Yeah,
because that was massive. That. But I saw the same headline with that, and I'm sure it was Will Smith and the guy, wasn't it the guy who played Jazzy Jeff? And they were saying,
Jazzy Jeff.
Jazzy Jeff. They're renting it out to people. It was like it was their decision.
Yeah.
Like, do they own it?
I don't know.
I think they do. I don't think they do.
I don't know. It doesn't say anywhere who owns it, but it does say. I'm handing you the keys so you'll have my wing of the mansion all to yourself. So I'm guessing it's whoever owns it now has seen the opportunity of, right, that's coming back. So I'm going to make a few quid from doing it. But
I grew up watching that. I used to love that.
It was one of those programs that was always, it seemed like you'd had your dinner and you put the TV on or something and it was there.
You'd sing the song as well.
Yeah, everyone
knows the song, yeah.
But what freaked me out with the song fairly recently, was when you listen to the theme, like the proper song, there's an extra verse on it.
Yeah, it's extended. It always throws you off, yeah.
And I remember listening to it, and the first time I heard it, I think, what is this?
Yeah, where'd that come from, yeah.
Remix?
My whole past was a lie. There's an extra verse.
Do you think you would be keen on seeing a reimagined version of it, like a modern day version of the show?
I'm not, to be honest, I'm not that passionate about the original that I'm bothered. It's not like what you were saying, Paul, about June, something you hold so to your heart. Yeah. It was a good show and it was a fun show. See what happens. What I'd be wary of, though, is them making it really gritty or something, like taking it so far away.
Dramatic.
Yeah, it covered, I think, some serious subjects from what I remember, like serious real world day-to-day issues that someone of that age or someone would face, which I think is important. It's a good way of translating it in a comedy form. But, if the Fresh Prince starts killing people or something like that,
goes on a rampage.
Yeah, that's it. dark
Yeah.
twist to it.
What else has caught your eye this week, Matt?
Well, linking to sort of things we watched in the past, I watched something that I would hazard a guess at probably 20 years since I'd seen this, if not more, which is a film called The Wizard, which it was from 1989, I believe. Yep, 1989. Which starred Fred Savage, who I don't know if both of you remember, was a huge star at the time.
Yeah.
Did you ever see The Wonder Years, James? You might have missed it. It might be just before your time.
Bits and pieces.
And The Wonder Years was something that was, I don't know, it was almost like, I guess, the Friends sort of that, like that sort of level of success of a sitcom. About Fred Savage's Kevin. Is it Kevin?
Yeah, I think it was Kevin. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Growing up. But anyway, I digress. The Wizard was a film that was basically a massive endorsement from Nintendo from start to finish, which is cool in its own right. Then they probably think, oh god, you know, it's just capitalism or whatever. But look, watching it now, it's brilliant. Like every moment they're in a diner. Oh look, there's Ninja Gaiden. And they're playing that, or oh look, there's this, and like every scene there's a NES, or there's like something that they're fitting into it. But it's the story of a boy. He's got learning difficulties. He's sort of struggling because he's been put in a home, and his stepbrother takes him, and they go on this sort of road trip to California, and they discover that he's really, really good at games. So they then, as a result, sort of end up, they need the money, so they end up entering him into a Nintendo tournament. But you meet all these sort of characters along the way, and the guy who sort of Paul mentioned earlier, Lucas, I think he's called, is that he has a power glove, which, you know, at the time, but for me, a power glove was this elusive sort of, you know, thing that you'd never seen in the flesh. Which, do you know what power glove is, James?
No, go on.
It's so Nintendo made this thing which was essentially a glove with a controller on it,
Right.
and you sort of do this with your hand and control a car or control it's like almost early virtual reality in a
Right. I'm with you.
form. And there's this kid they meet in this diner or something like that, and he's got this case and he opens it up, and the power gloves in the case, and it's this big dramatic thing, and he says, I love the power glove. It's not bad. It's like, yes, coolest thing ever.
I never had one of them. I always wanted one of them. I had a
a
NES and I had all the accessories, I think I even had a Robbie Robot, but I didn't have the glove. I still want a glove. I still want it now.
Get on eBay.
If I could afford that, I think it's going to be in the thousands for one of them these days.
But it's amazing. So as a film, it's thoroughly enjoyable. What surprised me, and I guess it's the same as what I was saying recently about Karate Kid. Do you remember these films in the context of like how, oh yeah, it's a film with just Nintendo in it or whatever, or oh, that's a cool like retro film. The storyline's pretty serious. I'm not going to spoil sort of the plot as such for anyone, but at the end, tearing up. Like the final bit of it where like this thing happens. Wow, this is some heavy acting going on. But it's got some good actors. It's got Fred Savage, it's got Christian Slater as the older brother, and Beau Bridges, again, was a big actor of that time. It's quality. And
I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
No, you should watch it, because it's they did a sort of full HD restoration of it. So it's...
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I can't remember till probably 15 years ago, whatever, you could only sort of get DVD quality, but now it's, you know, full restoration. And the interesting thing is, after, as I always do, after I watch something, do a bit of research into it, and looking into it, apparently the director wanted to make it into a more serious movie. And there's sort of a version of it that he created. It was about 2.5 hours long, and it had all stuff about sort of the older brother and who had a drink problem, which you don't see any of that in the actual film. I think maybe the dad alludes to it once in an argument, but there's none of that covered. And they meet sort of a runaway girl who joins them on the journey, and you see more of her home life, because she tells all these stories about how wonderful her life is, but she actually sort of lives in this trailer in the middle of the desert, sort of somewhere, and her dad's a trucker and that. So yeah, you hear a little bit more about that. But I'd
Yeah,
love
I'm gonna have
to
to
see
watch
that.
that again.
Yeah, and I don't know whether you can get the extended one or whether that was just something the director made. But apparently they wanted to make it into a family film, obviously because Nintendo was in it. I'm sure Nintendo didn't want a gritty thing.
Yeah, put people off the NES at the time.
But
Exactly.
it shows you as well, for me, like you see now about esports and stuff and streaming and like that sort of thing. And I don't know, in your mind, it's easy to imagine that as quite a recent thing.
Yeah,
But like seeing the Nintendo tournament that they had there, and they got the big stage, and they got people standing on the stage sort of with the controllers, and they're playing the games competitively, and there were regional heats and all of that sort of stuff. No, that esports started 30
It
years
was-
ago,
it
really.
was a long time
That was
ago.
the formation of it. The money wasn't it, but like there is now. But yeah, it's there,
yeah.
which I think links us to.
Question mark.
Hi, gents. My question is about games, and it comes from Netflix's new TV show High Score, which talks about computer games. And in the second episode, it talks about having call centers that were available for people to call up if they were struggling on particular games. So that made me think about, what are the toughest games you've ever played, or the toughest part of a game that you can remember? And then secondly, what have you ever done in terms of beating really difficult games? Have you cheated? Have you asked someone else to do it for you? Have you bought guides, or have you actually called up one of those centers? And I remember being very young and phoning up about Broken Sword, which I couldn't solve, and charging something like 20 quid to the phone bill. All right, cheers, lads. Thanks.
So as Paul said in his question, and linked to what I was saying, The Wizard, on the documentary High Score, and they show a lot about sort of the competitive side and the tournaments and things like that. But in The Wizard as well, you do have the girl ringing up before the tournament, ringing the helpline and saying, "Oh, I've got this game, Zelda, blah blah blah. I'm stuck at this bit. Where do you do it?" And there's a guy in his cubicle with a binder, and he's looking up all the stuff and things like that, which I find amazing. Paul, did you use such services?
I remember using them, and I remember the adverts being in the magazines, because I used to buy the magazines. Because I started gaming from the Atari 2600, so I'm back in the first kind of console and arcade machines and whatever. And by the time it got to, I think, NES and the Amiga I had, those were the ones that had some of the tougher games. And you'd phone up and say, "How do I do this?" And they'd tell you. And yeah, I remember using it. I don't remember there being big phone bills or anything to do that. My parents telling me that I'd cost them a fortune, but no. Yeah, I remember doing it. I remember the adverts being there clearly set, and it actually had the pictures of like 4 guys or something, and it'd be like Paul and Matt and James or whatever to say, "Call us on this number and we'll help you on this game" and stuff. So yeah, I do remember that.
And when you rang them up, I mean, I don't ever recall calling any of these numbers up to get help. And me and Mark are the same age, so maybe I just wasn't into gaming as much as Mark was. But what would they literally talk you through how to get past that level?
From what I remember, I mean, it's a long time ago. I'm old now, so grey hairs have settled in. I don't have the memory, but I remember phoning up and the nicest people, like literally as we are now, just talking to a kid and saying, this is where you're going to go. Did you get to this bit? Yeah, right. Okay, from there, do you see this? Yeah. Okay, pause the game and jump up onto there. You'll find this little secret. Go to there and all that kind of stuff. And there wasn't the internet back in my day, so it was literally magazines or that phone number. And the magazines would also have the cheats and I think there was a thing called Game Genie and all those kind of things.
Game Genie,
type in and get all the codes and cheat. So yeah, it was something that I definitely used. Don't remember how many times, but I remember phoning it. Yeah.
So I'm the same. I never got. Sorry, I'm not saying. I was going to say I'm the same with you, James. I never called any of these things up. I remember buying the magazines and them having sort of tips and tricks and stuff like that, and those sort of things. Or I guess sort of more word of mouth that people would say, "Oh, if you do this at this point on." like in Mario, the one that sort of sticks in my head, Mario, when you run along that first level in first Super Mario Bros, and you jump up and you go outside the screen, and like those sort of things that were always sort of circulated around, but never called a hotline. I remember in that era, or probably the era that started me off with gaming was I played a bit of sort of PC game, but the one sort of really into the NES is probably like what started. I remember Turtles on the NES was
that
just
was awesome.
brutal.
That was one of my difficult games. That was the one that used to like as a
so
kid,
unforgiving, wasn't it?
Yeah. Used to pull my hair out of that one. I think I only got to the final level maybe once in my entire life of playing with NES, and that was a long time. So the Technodrome at the end.
I just remember you'd be doing all right, and then you'd have to get to that bit where you'd have to come out in the sewer, and then you get like run over or something like that. And that's like
the electricity, and I just remember all that being an absolute nightmare. So
I can't remember what I was watching. I think it might have been the High Score documentary, and I saw there was a picture of the swimming level of Turtles. I was just like, oh god,
start shaking. What would you say, Matt, was your, because I think Mark asked what was one of the toughest games you've ever played?
I think the one that sticks in memory, and it's a recent game, Cuphead. I remember the first I wanted Cuphead for months before that game came out, and got it.
The visuals on that is I know, get you
stunning,
being an artist.
isn't it? But it was God. I remember playing, but it was so harsh. Like the bosses and stuff were just so harsh, but I loved it because it took me back to when games you had to learn the habits of that particular character. Yeah. And I think with a lot of, without sounding like a complete old man, a lot of games now it holds your hand to a certain degree through the thing. And it's, oh, you have to do that, you have to do that. And the boys, my two sons, get so frustrated with older games because they don't do that. And why can't I do it? Why can't I do it? Like,
my girls are saying
it. You got to learn it. You got to think, look what he's doing there. He's doing this. So you have to wait for him to do that. And then you can shoot him or whatever. And it really sort of harked back to that, which I loved, and I'm one of the people that I won't give up, and I will sit there and I will hate the game so much, but I will just do it again and again and again and again and again until you've got that one moment where it all falls into place. Yeah, definitely Cuphead.
Yeah. Mine would be from the PlayStation 1, Metal Gear Solid, because I just remember such an amazing game. But just that noise of Solid Snake every time you get killed, I think it was like it was like some sort of like he's dying in pain, and just memories of that noise. And I don't think I ever cheated on it, but I do remember probably Mark actually helping me get past certain levels if I was struggling with it. But another thing that Mark mentioned there about, I remember getting like guides for games. You used to be able to buy like A4 paper guides for different games, and I remember I definitely had one for a game like that. It might have been Splinter Cell or something like that, but also I had one, I remember having one for a wrestling game where it told you how to do every single move basically, and if you needed to know how to do a finisher or whatever, because there were certain ones that you just didn't have a clue, you might have had to get them into a certain turnbuckle or whatever. But yeah, they used to be pretty helpful. But don't think I've ever, can't remember any cheating going on. But in fact, there was actually a cheat. I can't even remember what game it was for, but I just remember the combination was up, down, left, right, A start at the same time. But I couldn't tell you what game it was for. That just always sticks in my mind for some reason.
I don't know.
So if anyone's listening and knows what game that was for, I would like to play it again. So and do
with
that
the cheat.
with the cheat.
Yeah. I remember on Metal Gear Solid, I never really played it, but I had a mate who had it. Shout out to Phil. And he, I remember watching him play it, and the hardest part of that game for me was the cutscenes, because they're about 3 hours long each cutscene. You'd finish a level and then, oh my god, they're still talking. I just don't want to know anymore.
Weren't they unskippable as well? Weren't they unskippable on the first one or something? You couldn't skip them. Yeah,
so. That's it. So you literally...
These days, I'm just like skip. I just want to play the game.
Yeah.
Paul, what was your hardest?
I think having tried to think about it. Turtles, yeah, on the NES, but I think it was the SNES, and I think it was the PC as well. Was Ghosts and Goblins or Ghouls and Ghosts?
I
That
love
drove
that
me
game.
bonkers. I played that a lot. I think it was called Ghouls and Ghosts on the SNES, and before that it was Ghosts and Goblins or something like that, Ghouls and Ghosts. And that's where you're the little knight with the lance, and you change weapons and stuff, and you end up being naked because
I
you're
was
not.
going to say that's what I loved about that game. He lost his armor.
Yeah, he
So
just had his
cool.
little like kind of cloth pants on and stuff, and that drove me bonkers. I've even played that recently, and still I don't think I can get off the first level. As soon as I get to the kind of there's like a platform bit at the end, there's fire plants or something, I can't do it. Any other game like Mario games or whatever, fine. And I've played recently. I tried to, the mini SNES, that you can buy. Well, I'd put other games on it. You can add games to it.
Yeah.
And I'd put the Mario 1, 2, 3. So my youngest wanted to play something with me. So I said, let's try Super Mario 3 because you can do it alternate, Mario and Luigi, and you used to level. She did not like it. She couldn't do the platforming on it. So I'm like, no, all you do is this. Can't do it. On Super Mario 3 you can run. You get the not the raccoon.
Raccoon hats in.
Yeah, it's called Tanuki hat or something, whatever it's called. And you can fly and stuff, and then all that stuff. She didn't want to do it. She just fed up, put controller down, left. But they're both amazing at games. I've got a 17-year-old who plays games all the time, and I've got a 13-year-old now, both girls, but they play games. And they just don't like the old games. If I try and get them to play any of the retro games, they won't play them. But my youngest and I now, 2 months ago, we discovered Fortnite. Bit late, but because I didn't want to play it. I tried to play it on the stream on Twitch. Nope, I couldn't do it. I'm old. I can't build. I can't shoot. I couldn't do it. And also having one eye, it's not easy to hit
aiming.
When you and drive and anything else. And we started playing that 2 months ago, and we've got to the point now where 50-50 we win. We win every time, so we're getting really, really good, and we love it, and we play it every day. She's got the Switch. She sits in my room. I'm doing it on the PC. My other daughter sometimes joins in on the PS4 in my room. We'll sit together and play it, so we're not shouting across the house. When it comes to retro stuff, no, they don't like them.
It's funny you say Fortnite, though. I think Fortnite is an unforgiving game as well. Not an unforgiving. The learning curve of Fortnite is huge.
I swear a lot playing that game.
Yeah, if you're just being thrown into the wild, right? You're playing this game, and building particularly. I think that Ben, my oldest, is teaching me how to build in Fortnite at the moment. So I'm normally relegated to doing all these challenges, like the challenges he hates doing. He just wants to play it.
Yeah.
So I'll be up late at night, like just grinding all these challenges, so we work through the battle pass. And he was teaching me how to 90 and stuff on there, which I can now do, be it very slowly. But sometimes you know, if you're sort of inexperienced, you're in the game and someone's coming on, they're like building this stuff up, bang, you're dead. And
my two nephews, they play it non-stop, and they sit next to each other and they play it. And
it's a young person's game.
Not that it matters. They've both got they're both on the spectrum, and they are flawless at certain things, and this game is one of them. And they're building, because they did these things where I don't even know what it's called, but it was a room where only the four of us would be in the room, and you can kind of fight each other and build. I can't remember what it's called, but anyway,
it's, box something, isn't it?
Yeah, it's something combined. Just the four of you in there or something, and they're like, and I'm just like, what just happened? And they've got to spin, and I'm just like trying to build one step, and I'm like, which button is it? And my daughter's like, come on, Daddy, and I'm like, I've built one ramp, and they've built a tower about 50 feet tall, and I can't deal with that. Whenever my daughter and I come up against the builder, I do swear, and I go, builders, I hate them. I hate builders, because you're shooting at someone, you just say, just shoot me, just have a fight, come on, be a man, fight me. Freaking like 12-year-old building up, like
taunting me with these buildings.
Yeah, it is. Then I go underneath and I hide, and I'm like just like shaking underneath this tower, waiting for them to come down so I can have an actual fight with them. I always end up dying first and watching my daughter try and like fight them and have anxiety attacks where her hands are sweating because she's been left by herself. Like trying to fight them. It's a great game now that I've got into it. I hated it, and I deleted it off my computer. I hated it. I tried once, and everyone's playing it online. I'm going to try this out. I couldn't shoot anybody, I couldn't build. I'm like, no, delete. And then my daughter was like, I've been playing it with my friends. Do you want to try it together? I'm like, all right, I'll try it. And then I got into it, and now I'm like, yeah, let's play this. And the Marvel thing at the moment, because obviously I'm a Marvel fanatic, so playing that. I go,
brilliant.
there's a doctor,
Yeah.
there's an Iron Man, watch out, he's repulsor raising, all that kind of stuff. It's quite funny. So.
Fantastic crossover.
But there's my stuff.
Series.
I did read about that actually. The Marvel combining into Fortnite, it did look really good. And well, I don't know if you know, Paul, but I haven't played Fortnite. The only time I have downloaded Fortnite is usually to get Matt's son some sort of costume or whatever
Samsung
it is.
exclusive skin.
Yeah, just because of my Android phone. Although you should be able to do that now, Matt.
So I'd have to buy a Samsung.
Is it Samsung only? Is it?
Ones, yeah.
Yeah, but that does. I mean, I'm one of them ones where I'm thinking it's gone past me now, that game. If I started now, I'd be the proper noob on it who's just getting killed left, right and centre because people are so far ahead.
There's a certain amount of truth in that. And I think, even, we've been playing it for a couple of years, probably at the very most now. The level of ability of people now in Fortnite compared to a year ago or 6 months ago, it's ridiculous. Like you are just thrown to the wolves. But they used to have what was it? I can't think what it's called. The matchmaking thing where they put you against a similar level. I can't remember what the term is. I did that for a while, and I don't know if that's still the case.
That's good. I know a lot of platforms. They do that on football games. They do that in Call of Duty. So that's pretty good.
But the other day I was doing a chat as well. I was just gonna say similar to what we were talking about in the hardest things. The other day I was doing a challenge, and my competency on the game is limited, but you had to go to Tony Stark's what's it? I can't think what they're called. It's one of the shuttles that crash in at the beginning of the game. You're on the battle bus, and then the what are they called? Quinjets. They're like Quinjets.
Yeah, I was trying to think. Yeah, Quinjet.
Come along, and like a load of them come and then like land on the map. And in those there is a particular chest that you can get with sort of a mythic weapon or whatever. And this challenge, I had to do that. Literally, come down, land, nice, bang, I'm out.
We call them the Tonys because you can reprogram them. You can when you down them, you can reprogram, bring them back up, can't you? So my daughter's like, I want an army of Tonys with me, so we have to go down and get them each time for them to run along next to us and fight and stuff. Yeah.
If you emote, they emote as well.
Oh, do they? I didn't know that. I've never emoted in games, so probably get shot. That's pretty why. If I do anything out in the field, I get shot. I hate it when someone I'm one of those people that I'm good with games, and I'll do like you said before about you'll play it and you'll play it and you'll play it, and you try not to get frustrated. But if I get a one shot, someone hits me in the head and downs me, my table takes a beating. I get angry, and my daughter's like, "I'm leaving." Like, no, just come back. I'm good. I'm just sweating because someone one shotted me in the head. Called them everything under the sun. Yeah. Sweaty little teenagers. I think I call them putrid fetuses or something is what I usually call them. Something like that. Yeah, so.
Well, we've got off on a bit of a tangent there.
Yes, sir.
But thanks for the question, Mark. And I'm sure we'll have another one again from him soon. In other news, just a random bit that I saw on Twitter in the last 7 days was about robots in Japan. We've talked about robots a few times, Matt. You're a big fan of robots in general, and I'm sure if you could own one, you'd have one probably.
Yeah, I want a Boston Dynamics Spot dog. I'd have that sit next to me. It'd be great.
Yeah. If I was gonna have a robot, it'd be one of the ones. Did you ever watch Humans on Channel 4?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd have one of them.
Yeah,
Anyway,
enough said.
Yeah, we'll leave that there. So in Japan, there's a supermarket chain or a convenience store chain called Lawson that have developed these robots that you can operate remotely from your home to stock shelves. And I'm not joking. It's like they've got like VR headsets on, so you'd be sat. And the video that I saw on Twitter was one actually working live in action. And there's a guy sat in his bedroom, like we probably are now, with his VR headset on, and he wears like these gloves, not a power glove, and
shame.
At the same, so he can then see what the robot is seeing down the frozen aisle of this Lawson supermarket, right? And he's literally using these gloves to pick up food to put on the shelves. And apparently with them, you can sense like feeling in the glove, like when you're actually holding something in the store. It sounds mad.
It's like a futuristic supermarket sweep.
Yeah,
I've
exactly.
got an idea for a new TV show.
but they're also voice activated as well, so you can talk through them. So if customers are in the store, because obviously they're putting these robots out to do this, but you will still have people walking around the store, so you can interact with them as well and talk to that person who's sat indoors. But the plan is that by 2022 they want to have like 20 of their stores with these robots stocking up. It just blew my mind.
It's the future.
What's the benefit of it though?
Well, they
they
were
do?
saying, because in Japan, I think a third of the population there is over 65. So they're
Right.
saying to get workers, who want to go and stock shelves and that, there's limited numbers, I guess. And what they were saying as well is that potentially this could be operated by the three of us from overseas. We could be sat here stocking shelves in Japan.
In Japan?
I mean, I'm sure.
I think that'd be pretty cool because they should do it, as you said, Paul. You should do it as like a game scenario because I know I've seen on YouTube there are VR games where you pretend you're working in a shop. I can't remember what they're called, but you're there and you're like scanning stuff and you're talking to people as they come in. Yeah, just gamify it. We're here. Oh, what shall I do? Yeah, let's work in the supermarket for a bit.
I'm doing nothing. I'll do that. I'll stock some shelves and it's no problem.
Brilliant.
And get paid for it, yeah.
Yeah.
But I did see the similar sort of concept. There's a travel documentary of Sue Perkins. I think it's the end of last year, and she went to Japan, and she was visiting like different things. And there was a guy who was very seriously physically disabled to the point where I think he could just lay down. But he was, through exactly that sort of technology, he was able to work as a waiter in a restaurant, and sort of literally drove the thing up to the table, and he was talking, they were talking to him, the order was taken, and then he could drive and sort of go to another table or whatever.
That's
so it
critical,
does, in the series, real world application is brilliant because it does open up so much for people to do. Yeah.
It's amazing when you see that what some of the things, the ideas and technology out in Asia in general.
Yeah, and it's embraced. I think. I hope that we see it as from like a casual sort of observer's point of view overseas and thinking, in Japan they got all this cool stuff. I hope it is like that actually in Japan. Do you know what I mean? I hope it's just not a story that we see and then we think, Japan's like that.
No, I really think.
I hope they are, that embracing of that sort of technology. So it's so cool.
I've been there twice. I haven't been there for since I was a kid, but from what I remember, it was one of the nicest, coolest places.
I bet.
Shops there when you used to go in and Hello Kitty was all the rage, and you know what I mean. All those kind of everything was one, focus, and you just wanted to buy everything on the shelves. So yeah.
I imagine going there feels like you're stepping into the future. You know where you have them ideas.
Yeah, it's like something like 5 to 20 years ahead of us, and we literally catch up. And then the USA's like a few years behind us, aren't they, with their flip phones and stuff? So, and then I think with their music, they're still on Elvis Presley. But when it comes to their technology, they're like God knows how. They have 5 or 10 years, and then we catch up slowly. Yeah. So we might have robots in the future. Might be like stacking shelves in Tesco's and stuff sometime soon from home.
Yeah, well, a lot of us are working from home with the pandemic, so that could be another string to our bow, couldn't it?
That's it. Start filling shelves on your lunch break.
Exactly.
Well, I think that's it.
I was just going to mention one thing before you finish. In episode 310, I've been watching you. You saying about Karate Kid?
Yay!
I am an obsessive of Karate Kid as well, funnily enough. Look, I have the Daniel's son and Daniel's son.
Wow.
Well, no, it's the remake. I can't remember who did it. Reaction. I can't read it because my eyes. Reaction from someone who's done it, and that's the Funko Pop vinyl. But really I grew up being called Daniel's son because I came from Hong Kong to England. my stepdad was Japanese.
Yeah.
Supposedly, he told me the story of me catching a fly with chopsticks off the Karate Kid. And I grew up Karate Kid being my biggest
Amazing.
thing. So you talking about it, and Cobra Kai, which I watched 2 seasons of and was obsessed with. Yeah, I was watching it going, me. I just wanted to add that in. I watched that.
That is really cool.
Amazing.
Me as well. So
Well, that I think draws us to the end of the episode. Thank you very much for listening as always. All of our shows are now being put in video on YouTube, and we do divide them up into little clips. So please check that out. And if you do like them, please do subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any. And on all platforms, we do really appreciate every like that we get on the episodes, because it does give us an indication of our fans and who's out there. Paul, did you want to plug any of your ventures in terms of Twitch and so on?
I haven't been doing Twitch recently. I will be doing it again once I get sorted, hopefully, because I can't really do much. But I am Kryptonian Warrior on Twitch. You can look that up, and Kryptonian Warrior cosplay on Instagram for my old cosplay costumes. I'm hoping to do Batman again in the future, so there'll be another version once I'm sorting myself out. Apart from that, yeah, I don't think I've got anything else that's currently running. So,
and we will
Thank
put
you.
the links below the
Thank you.
episode and put those out there so people can find you.
Thank you for having
Thanks,
me.
Ed. No,
Yeah,
thank you for coming.
Yeah,
Definitely.
thanks for coming on.
Sorry about the
That's a
babbling.
pleasure. Yeah, but that's what the show is based on. there has to be babbling.
Yeah.
Anything to add, James?
No, just again, as Matt said, find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and on our website, thisweekinmetropolis.com. But
And
until
if you have, sorry, I've just ruined your outro. But if you have any, if you have your notifications on Instagram, do keep an eye out, because we did the other day the very first live discussion of something we've seen, and we're going to try and fit as many of those in as we can. If a new trailer comes out or something like that, we'll get on to Instagram Live and give you our first sort of impressions of that. So do keep an eye out for that.
yeah. Until next week, thanks for listening.
And goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for listening. Transmission over.